Hey there, this is Valerie McDowell, your writer, editor, author, book coach, and consultant. It is Write It Out Wednesday, and we are here where we put you back at the top of your writing list on this day we set aside just to do that. And I hope you've had a good week. We are at August 17th. It's my nephew's birthday. Shout out to Phil Hunter, who is a big 27. OMG, these kids are getting old. But I hope he's doing well on this amazing day of his birth. So we celebrate him today. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday to you as well. And so today we're going to be talking about writing with intention. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I am Valerie McDowell. I'm a writer, an editor, an author, a book coach, a consultant, and I've helped publish 30 books. And that's just through my company, 30 books. In the last 30 months, I've helped several other people. Some are ghostwriting clients and others, but 30 books in 30 months, that is amazing. So I'm excited about that. And we had an author showcase with some of those authors last month on July 28th. And we're going to have another one just next week on Thursday, August 25th, 8 p.m. We're going to have our author showcase summer edition part 2. So please stay tuned for that. We'll be posting about that real soon. And we've got some other things coming up. We've got a righteous brunch coming up. A righteous brunch. Don't that sound good? Yes. And we've got another writing option because I know some of you got some stories that you've been just have to tell. Okay, it's like a lot of stuff been happening and I know you're ready to get it done. Hey Sheila, good to see you. Glad to have you here tonight. And so tonight we're going to be talking about writing it out. Because the thing is, all writing has a purpose, and it needs a purpose if you want your reader to get something out of it. So tonight is going to be an episode about a tip that I want to give you, and it's about writing with attention. So the thing is, when you have a reason for your writing, it becomes so much easier to write that book because now you have a purpose for what you're fulfilling. Because otherwise, it's just like, what are you writing about? What's your purpose? What's the point? Questions that I ask my clients, questions that I ask the students in my course, that you have to have a purpose for writing. And it needs to be bigger than making money. Because the thing is, if the only reason you write a book is to make money, many people you're going to be kind of sadly mistaken, because unless you're selling thousands and thousands of copies, it's like that's not going to be the way to make the money with that book. There has to be a purpose. You need to know why. That's another class I teach. But anyway, when it's your passion, when it's something that you love, when it's something that kind of moves you, then that will give you the momentum to want to write the book. And then it makes it very clear for your writing. All right. And so, like I said, today we're talking about just one point, writing with intention. Okay. And in order to write with intention, the thing you must first know is how to pick the perfect book topic. Okay. How to pick the perfect book topic, because if you get that done, then everything else just becomes this easy blueprint that you follow, step by step by step. It makes it that much easier. You don't have to be all over the place, because that's the thing that really can throw you off, because the thing is, when you are in the process of writing your book, you can get overwhelmed. All right, with all the ideas that you have in your head. And I think that's one of the things that I hear often. It's like people often come to me and they say, well, I have a lot of ideas, or I have a lot of books I want to write. But it's like you can only really write one book at a time. You can try to write a lot of books at one time, but you really won't be focused. It's just like trying to read multiple books. You may read a few pages here and a few pages there, but you're not going to get the full gist of something unless you finish it. There's lots of books. Now, unless it's like a devotional or something where you can read a page a day and get the complete thing you need, most times when you're reading something, outside of a novel or something like that you can put down because, 300, 400, 500 pages in, it's like it's a lot to cover, but if you're reading something that's going to help you move forward, particularly if it's a nonfiction book or you're reading something that's, instrumental to your growth, then you really need to focus on that one thing at a time. Okay. And particularly because when you're writing that book, you may have different ideas, stories, illustrations, quotes, all flooding your mind, lots of things. Not to mention, maybe you want to put in some blog posts you wrote, or an article, or there might be a poem you wrote, or all kinds of things. So you see how quickly that one thing you think you want to do becomes 55 things that you won't be able to put all in that one book. It's good to have it all, And it's actually even better to put it all in one place, Google Docs or Google Drive, where you can get a folder and put all these ideas in. But that one book, you don't want to put all that stuff in because you may not need it, and that's why, again, the Google Drive, at least a folder, you can put stuff in and save it for later because it might be 10 books. Okay. But let's just organize that one first. Okay. And particularly when you have so many things happening, that's how come you can get stuck. Okay, that's one of the easiest ways to get stuck because you're trying to put so many things and so many ideas that you haven't planned it out, you haven't mapped it out, you haven't got your outline done, all the things that I teach, all the things that I share with you. So if you haven't done some of those things, it will make it hard for you to move forward because you'll be talking about things like writer's block or basically being stuck, and being stuck means I didn't do anything. It's like we say lots of things on why didn't you go to the gym? Oh, with so much that was going on, you just didn't go. I used to go to this gym called No Excuses, and literally I remember going in there. I was late for a class one time and I was trying to explain, oh my God, and they were like, no excuses. You see the name? Like they literally I don't want to hear it. No excuses. And so sometimes we have to eliminate the excuses that we come up with because it's like, yes, things are going to happen to everyone, but we all still get the same 24 hours in a day because we are human and that's the time period of which we work with. And so what can you get done in that same amount of time that somebody else gets their stuff done too? Okay. And again, just reinforcing, most authors have many ideas for their book. So in fact, it is common to do that. So instead, like I said, of trying to do the impossible, meaning writing about something or nothing, or having to do a lot of research, which do your research, but don't be all over the place doing research on this and this and that and that. Focus on what is possible, and that's creating an intention for your book. So like I was saying, selecting a book topic based on your strengths, your interests, and passions is one way to write a great book. Okay, because these are generally things that you love. So again, a topic that is based on your strengths, what you do well, your interests, what you do for fun, you like to travel, exercise, how you eat, you like to cook, or your passions, any of those things. You like working in the community, you like helping kids. Write about the things that come easy to you. The thing that if you meet someone and they say, what do? You can share, oh my God, I just came from this event and I set it up and oh my God, or like I just went to see the Wiz at this performing arts center. Oh my God, the costumes. Like I had never seen a Yellow Brick Road done that way. And so that's one of my passions, theater and drama. And so being able to see that, like I go for inspiration to see Broadway shows or theatrical productions because it inspires me. It makes me think outside the box. And this production definitely had you thinking about the box. The way they did the Yellow Brick Road, the way they did fire and movement and the tornado. Oh my God, I've never seen a moving tornado like that. So everything that they did was so inspiring to me. And that, again, evokes one of my passions. So being able to write about something that evokes your passion, that makes you excited, that inspires you, is one way that you can find an intention for your book. Because when you do it that way, you won't be bored. Because if your writing bores you, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and get in my PJs and I'm going to go ahead to bed. Because if you're bored writing your book, then I'm going to be bored reading your book. And it's the same premise as I say, like if you cry writing it, I'm going to cry reading it. So what is the emotion you want to evoke out of your readers? And boredom is definitely never should be on that list. Like you can say your character is bored if you're writing maybe fiction, but you don't want to bore the reader with what you're writing. So keep that in mind. That's a note to put in the freezer. You can use that later. But if you're bored writing, I'm not reading it, okay? So write about something which you have a passion for, an interest for, or it's one of your strengths, okay? And then when you select a topic that's based on those things, you will be excited, like I said, and eager to devote the time you need to writing and marketing that book. Hey, B Sweets, good to see you. You clapping for that one? You're not trying to be bored. I still remember your book. And actually, I thought about you. My father's birthday was this weekend and we were playing records and stuff. And I was recounting one of my stories. Again, you can write about things that you know well, that you tell the story often about walking to the stores, 6 and 7-year-old in New York. picking up fish, playing numbers, buying cigarettes, things that you definitely can't do now, but back in those days, kids could just go to the store and they do what their parents tell them, they come right back, but the thing about it, those stories bring interest, they bring out your passion, they're exciting, they make you, just want to just speak and write more about what that topic is. And when you bring that kind of excitement and energy to your writing, it will help in marketing that book, because then there'll be so many things inside of your book that you can market your book with. You can take a passage from that book. You can take part of a chapter or a quote that you have in there, and you can use that like on a landing page, which is one of those things that you can use to promote your book. A landing page, if you work with me, I'll show you how to do one. But it's one of those ways that, you can promote your book. You can put a link to sell your book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, wherever you want to sell it, but it's one of the things that helps you market your book by having a good story, by it being about the things that you love and have a good story to write about. And then also, then when you have that story, you will get more illustrations and pictures and reminders. Like I'm writing a book about part of my life for one project, and I took a picture of the apartment building I grew up in. But then I moved to a different state, and it was like, oh, I need a picture of my high school. So when you have that passion and the energy for the story you're telling, then the pictures, the illustrations, the quotes and things will make sense. You're not just like, oh, I just need a quote. It's like, no, I need a quote that's specific to my intention for this book, because there's a gazillion quotes. You can make up a quote and it's yours, but does it have relevancy to what you're writing? Okay. And then that way, when you add those things, it makes your book unique and authentic because it's specific to, again, the intention that you are putting forth your book. Now, so again, the first way that you can write with this intention is starting with a book topic based on your strengths, interests, and passions, okay? Or basically what you love. And the second way that you can write with intention is by understanding and acknowledging that you are already an expert in many areas and you don't even realize it, okay? Many of you have experience in all kinds of areas, whether in community work you've done, human resources, accounting. I mean, you are good at process, or you're good at creating things. You're good at imagining. You're good at creativity. It's so many ways that you are already an expert because of your 20, 30, 40 years on the job, because of what you've done in your family, because you raised your siblings, because of so many other things. And so, because when there are things that you do well that you don't realize, it's no big deal to you. But in fact, it's something you might take for granted. But, because people will often say to you, how come you're able to do that so well? Often it comes like with things like cooking or someone who has a green thumb and they just like, why can't you get that plant to grow? I gave you 3 plants. They're all dead. How? Like their plants have grown and they've replanted them 17 times. You get one plant, you have it 3 months, it's dead. So it's like, it's not you. That's not your strength. And being able to acknowledge what you do well and what you don't do well is okay. Because we don't have to do everything well. And we have to learn that we also don't have to do everything. It's like I have a team of people who help me work with you guys to get your books done because I cannot do it all. It's a lot going on, y'all. I had a flood in my basement Thursday last week. Still dealing with that. So it's just like, I can't suck up water, pull out carpet, fix a pipe, I can't. I'm not trying to. It's just like, peace, be still, and let the people who are experts at that do it, not me. I'm not in plumbing. I'm not a contractor. I'm not none of those things, and it's just like, and you're like, it's always something, isn't it? But the thing is, it's life. It's like and I know it's been going around the country. I'm on the East Coast, but crazy rains, just like, oh my God, like, warnings, your phone is beep, 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 flash, 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 like 2 feet of water, all of a something just rushing, in your neighborhood, like your street is a river. You're like, wait, why is cars rolling down the street? Like, what's happening? So just crazy stuff. But the thing is, it can be fixed. And like I always say, use those crazy stories. I think I told you guys last week, the week before, about a shed I had to move. like moving to a house. It's always something, but they make good stories because it's just like, now what? How do I spin this? It's sort of like with the news. They're always spinning stories to make it more palatable for their viewers. But how do you spin your story that resonates with you, your personality, how you tell a story that gives pleasure and joy to the reader, or it makes your reader cry or bust out laughing? I mean, I have some books where it's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I remember being on a plane one time reading Lovia Ajayi's first book, the Do Better Guide. I completely bust out laughing reading that book all on a plane before we were masked up. And it was just like, ooh, I had to oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then next thing I know, I got that person to buy that book. So Lovey, shout out to you I got you a book sold on the plane, But the thing is, it's like, that's what you want to write. You want to write about this stuff. She wrote about things that annoy her as a Nigerian in America. So that's funny. And so there's lots like, and I'll just throw this in right quick. Joe Coy has a new movie. It's Easter Sunday. He's a Filipino guy. He's hilarious. But what is he doing? He's telling stories about how he grew up. Like, his name is Joseph, but his mother says Joseph, and it's like it's Joseph P, no H. And it's just like the way he says it is funny. And then just all the stories, like he literally talked about, I'm sure there's someone in the audience, because they're not buying any food when they go to some event, where the prices, you go to a game or event, and the Coke you might buy for $2 is $17, at the concession stand. So he's like, I guarantee you there's some Filipino here with a plastic bag with meat in it. And by Job, there was a Filipino in the audience with a plastic bag with meat in it. They weren't buying no food. So that was just funny, but that's his culture. That's what he grew up in, and that's what's funny. And so even in your life, what are those stories? What are the things that are funny? What is it? Is it a way you speak? Is it a way someone talks? Is it something that happened? Is it something all of you siblings do when you get together? Is it the way your cousin dresses, or your sister does her hair, or your brother does, whatever it is, it can be part of your story. And again, it's what has that energy. What do you have passion about? What is the details that come to mind because you're telling that story? Because the thing is, these are strengths again, and they become a gold mine of topics for you to use, not only for your book, but any accompanied products with your book. So your book, particularly a nonfiction book, can be just the base for other products that you use. That it can be a t-shirt, it can be a binder, it can be a workbook, it can be a hat, it can be, whatever it is, your tote bag, pens. You can have all kinds of products associated. It's sort of like when they do like a Disney film and McDonald's ends up being the sponsor, and next thing you know, all the Happy Meals have those characters. Okay, like whatever the Marvel Universe or Disney or whatever, but it's like you get that Happy Meal, you're getting a toy, you're getting a game, you're getting something, and so you can do the same with your book, okay? Because it's like you still have those ideas, and they can just be channeled in different ways, because also it makes you more valuable. And whenever you save your readers time because of the things you are offering them, if you give them something that's useful for them, number one, is your book useful? Because I'm going to buy your book because I'm selfish. What does it do for me? Like, what is this book going to do for me? So I'm buying the book because of the benefit that it brings to me. So what benefit does your book bring to someone? So that's also your intention. What am I giving my reader? Because you have to think about your reader. What is it that you're giving them? They need something out of your book, even if it's just to reminisce, okay, about their childhood. They're like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh my God, that's so, I remember, because they'll be like, oh my God, you got to read this book. Remember when we were growing up, and they'll tell their friend, and then they'll buy the book, because then it'll be a good memory for them, or it'll make them laugh or something like that. Like, I posted some pictures from going to see my parents for my father's birthday, and we were playing records, and it's like, he got boxes. It's like, first of all, I'm like, where are the sleeves for the records? Why you take okay, anyway, but we playing the Tramps, because whatever dude's name is, I think it's Ellis, or first or last name, I'm not sure, but they went to high school with him, like in the 50s. But he did the song Burn Baby Burn. For those of you of a certain age, you heard that, or you heard it from your parents. And that was a big club song, disco song back in the day. But they went to school with him. And so he would come to their class reunions and with his band, and they would sing that song. So he had that on vinyl. So for those of you got some vinyl records out there, it's like, come through. Okay? So the thing is, it's like, what are the stories? My father, he was going, like, the memory started coming back as he went through those records. And it's just like, and then even for my sisters and I who were there, Disco Inferno, exactly. It's like, that's what you're also, it brings back the memories, the stories, and then they just come out easily. Like, we had a good time because we were telling stories. If I had a recorder, I would have captured it, but we were being present in the moment. So you got to be present. You can't always, take notes and stuff. All right. I learned that. But anyway, so the way that you write with intention, okay, is like set aside 30 minutes. I do much better when I set my alarm. I set my alarm for 30, 45, an hour and a half increments for different things I'm working on, just so I could focus. And then that way you won't be interrupted. It's just like, just do that and then take a break. Do that, take a break. Because sometimes you don't get anything done because you're, everything that pops up on your email, everything that pops up on your phone, you're being distracted. Set your clock and turn everything else off so that you can write. Okay. Don't check your email, close the door, do whatever you need to do. And, so get that pad and paper or your laptop and just write the stories that are coming to you. Once you know what it is you're writing, once you know the purpose for that book, or that story, then go ahead and write it out, and then sometimes you need to just close your eyes. I find that when I close my eyes, I see better. Isn't that funny? Close my eyes to see better, because we have an internal eye. It's that internal part of us that is able to, yes, it's that internal part of us. Like so many times our world is so busy and noisy that we have to go inside in order to see clearly or to hear clearly. And so sometimes, you need to do that, to think about who needs my book, who is my ideal reader. So by closing your eyes and just thinking, if you take like 2 minutes and just think, who needs this book? It'll come to you. Who needs this book? See him or her sitting at the kitchen table with you, asking for your help. Like, oh my God, what do they need? And then bring that into like sharper, clearer focus, and then open your eyes and write a sentence. And I was like, my book helps, and then fill it in based on what you just saw with your eyes closed, that who did you see your book helping? What age are they? Do they live in any particular part of the country? It's like, I know that I usually, my information, my ads, my, audience is usually like 40 to 80. I have some younger than that, but 79, 80 is the max right now. But somewhere I have some 40s, a lot in the 50s, 60s. But I do have some on both ends. So that range, but I know like the 50 to 70 actually is the real target, and where they're in different places around. So their location actually is not as distinctive as it is where they are in life. So knowing who your audience, what they call them avatars sometimes, knowing who your story is for. Are they going to get it? If you tell your story to someone younger or older, they're like, what you talking about? Willis? But so you need to know, and your story can relate to different people, different ages, different, if you're writing a finance book, that can apply to all kinds of people. Everybody needs to get their money straight. If it's buying a house, most people, you need the same kind of information. It's like, you need your 2 years of W-2s, you need your, 2 years of tax returns, you need certain things when you're buying a house for the first time. And so, unless you're doing investments and other things. So writing your book for specific audiences will help you be able to market better, because then you can target even that part of your book sales and your marketing. Okay. And then, for example, here's one. My book helps parents of teenagers stop fighting about when to get up or go to bed, so that everybody has peace in the house. So who would that audience be there? Okay. It would be parents. not the teens, but it's teaching parents how not to fight with your teenagers about going to bed or getting up. Because with school starting in many places, and it'll definitely be starting by Labor Day, when you have a teenager, especially in high school, it's like, they stay up late and their school starts like 7:30 in the morning or something like that. And so the little kids usually be up early, but the older kids, they're like, I need 9 o'clock. So how do you, since this is something that most parents deal with, how do you manage that? Okay. Or for instance, my book helps new gardeners grow beautiful roses so that they can be the envy of the neighborhood. So that's, again, going to talk to those green thumb people out there who want to have the most beautiful rose garden, who want to, show off and be like, oh my God, I want to win beautiful yard in the neighborhood, something like that. And I'm just happy to report that for the very first time, I have lots of really pretty things in my yard now. Sometimes, and they're all alive. They're all doing well. It's like water, some little tricks I had one of my gardeners do. He's like, okay, I just need you to water like every day. It's like, every day? It's like, every day. And lo and behold. So y'all can see my strength isn't really outside with that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, so anyway, once you come up with your example, after you figure that out, then, you have that clear idea of what your book solves for your reader, then write down the steps you will teach in your book, okay? And that becomes your outline. What are they going to get out of your book? Is it something that is going to help them be a better person? Is it going to be something that helps them love themselves more? Or, how to date after 60? Whatever. It's like, you need some steps. They're looking to see, okay, I don't want to do online. I need something else, or you need to just be clear that they need the steps. Like, you are the solution in your book. Okay. So make sure your book solves something for the reader. Okay. Because it's fine if it's general information, but even if you're telling a story, what are they going to get out of your story? Because I can read a story and be like, yeah, but what do I learn from your story? Do I learn that, you have to forgive no matter what? Do I learn that don't let people take advantage of you? Like, what am I learning when I read your book, even if it's a personal or memoir book, okay? Because people need some kind of logical progression when they're working on your book, and when you first write it, just one page. It doesn't have to be pages and pages. Just jot down the ideas, say maybe 10, get 10 main ideas, or 7 main ideas, and then once you're clear that these are the things they're going to get from my book, then you can start going back to those 7 and then break those down a little bit more. Like, okay, so what are 3 things in number 1 that they're going to get? Okay, if they're going to learn, what to do on the first date, then give them 3 points. Wear something appropriate. Go out early in the day. Don't try to break the bank, something like that. So it's like, you need to have some points and some progression for, your readers, so that they have a purpose, and that what they're purchasing your book for, what they're investing in you, is going to bring a return on investment for them. Okay. And then, so what else? And mind mapping. I know that those who work with me, you understand mind mapping, but it's just a way of, again, getting all those ideas out of your head. And if you do the mind mapping, it actually will help you do what I just said. Where you break down those ideas, you get your table of contents, because you've now gotten all the stuff out of your head that was all over the place, and you're narrowing it down. So once you're able to do that and you bring those points to your readers, then you're able to move them forward with a purpose, with an intention for what it is that you want to do. So that's what I have for you today. Like, how to write with intention. It's like, have a point, have a purpose, for what it is you're going to do, and write from your strengths, write from your passions, write from the things that bring you joy, so that when you do that, your clients, your readers, those people that you want to be your audience members, are going to get what your intention is for that book. So if you have any questions, put them down below. But that's what I have for you today. It's like writing with intention, because we always want our book to have a purpose, because we have purpose. It's like, we're not just here for nothing. We have purpose, whether it is to just give a smile to someone in the next room, or to say good morning to someone, because, believe it or not, some people, They ain't gonna get hugs. Nobody ever tells them they look good or things like that. So even if you say something, write something, write a note. Sometimes just write a note to someone, maybe the receptionist in your building, where you work or something. Just like, you know what? I really appreciate seeing you every day. It's like whatever it is you need to do, make a point, write with intention so that your audience, your readers will always benefit from what it is that you have. So I am Valerie McDowell, your writer, editor, author, book coach, and consultant. I will see you, Sheila, tomorrow, and I will see you all soon online. Remember, we have Author Showcase Summer Edition Part 2 next week on Thursday night, and I will see you then. All right, bye.